Hello everyone, and welcome to the Mathematical Path. As I was setting up this game of Catan, I realized it would be a great opportunity to talk about probability. In Catan, players roll 2 dice, and hexagons generate resources based on the sum of those numbers. So, having rolled a 9, I would generate 1 sheep resource for this settlement from this hexagon. However, if I had rolled an 11, I would not generate any resources, as neither of my settlements are adjacent to a hexagon with an 11. Since you use resources to build and buy things, you want to get as many as possible. This leads us to the question, what space on the Catan board will give you the most resources? Let's go work that out. My copy of Catan came with 2 dice, 1 yellow and 1 red. Each die can give us a result of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Each of the numbers 1 through 6 has the same chance of coming up on a given die when I roll it. But the sums are not all equally likely. There's only one way to get a sum of 2 when both dice show a 1. There's 2 ways to get a sum of 3 when the red die is 1 and the yellow die is 2, or when the red die is 2 and the yellow die is 1. We can draw all the options out in a grid. Along the top, I've put all the possible results on the red die. Along the left, I've put all the possible results on the yellow die. If both results roll a 1, the sum is 2. If the red die rolls a 2 and the yellow die rolls a 1, the sum is 3. Let's fill in all these results. Now that's done, we can see that there are 36 different results on the dice, but we don't care about what number is on which dice, only the sum. So let's summarize these results in a different way. Out of the 36 possible rolls, only one of them gives a sum of 2. So we write that as 1 out of 36. There are 2 possible rolls that give us a sum of 3. So we write that as 2 out of 36. There are 5 possible rolls that give us a result of 6. We write this as 5 out of 36. There are 6 possible rolls that give us a result of 7. We write this as 6 out of 36. There's only 5 possible rolls that give us a result of 8. We write this as 5 out of 36. And finally, there's only one combination that gives us a sum of 12, so we write this as 1 out of 36. From this, we can compare just how likely each of the possible sums are. 2 and 12 are the least likely of all the possible sums, with only 1 in 36 chance each of being rolled, whereas 7 shows up with a 6 in 36 chance. Now that we've worked out the chances of each roll occurring, we can figure out what space on the board is likely to give us the most resources. In this case, the probability of getting a resource is the sum of the probabilities of each of the adjacent hexagons being rolled. Thinking back to our grid of possible results, we have 2 ways of rolling an 11 and 3 ways of rolling a 4. So a settlement in this space should give a resource 5 out of every 36 rolls. Catan makes this easy for us. The number chits look like this. Beneath the number, there's a series of dots. These just aren't a general sense of how often the number is to occur, but is actually the number of times out of 36 rolls we expect this number to occur. So now we can go through and figure out how valuable each space is on the board, whether we work from our math adding up the fractions or use Catan's help by adding up the dots. And here we go. On this beginner board setup for Catan, we have one space which is more likely to generate a resource than any other. On average, a settlement here will generate a resource on 12 out of every 36 rolls, or a quarter of the time. Just behind that, we have these spaces that will generate a resource 11 out of 36 rolls. These spaces are the best choices for placing your first settlement in terms of the number of resources you should expect to get. Now there's more to Catan than just maximizing the number of resources you get. You also want to consider the mix of resources you're getting, make sure you don't get blocked in by other players, and you might want to consider these special harbor spaces. But by using mathematics to understand how likely you are to get resources, you can improve your chances in the game. So there we go. Check the description beneath the video for links to the Mathematical Path website. If you didn't understand the material in this video, we'll help you get from the mathematics you do understand to understanding this. Catan was created by Klaus Tauber. You can get a copy for yourself at your friendly local game store or at various online or big box retailers if you don't have a local shop. Be sure to subscribe so that you're notified as new videos come out, and let us know if there's any specific topics you'd like to see covered. See you next time!